It's quick Toots. We're talking Photoshop brushes. To select the brush, you can either go over here and go bloop, or you can hit B on your keyboard. B as in, I want a brush. Darn it. Here's some windows. I got the brush presets open. I also got brush everything open. If you don't have those, you go up to window, you go to brush and brush presets. Okay, let's get into it. I'm going to select the circle brush. It's just a basic circle. Let's look at what it's doing on the options here. The brush tip shape is all the way down to 1% on the spacing. Basically, that means it repeats itself very closely to the last stamp. Wait, did I say stamp? I thought we were using brush. Well, the brush is just a stamp, right? So if I increase the spacing all the way out, you can see it's just a circle repeating over and over, and it creates the illusion of a brush being dragged across the page because it's repeating that so closely. You can also change the hardness. That doesn't matter with some brushes, but for this one, since it's just a basic circle, it does. And I can make a fuzzy line too. Since the brush tip shape option does not have a little box next to it, some people get confused that it's not a real button. It is, and it's pretty important since it changes the spacing and the hardness and the width. You can do weird, crazy things with it. And all that jazz. You can change the size of your brush by dragging this thing if you're slow, or you can hit the brackets, or you can also use the scroll wheel if you have a Wacom tablet like I do. I'm drawing with a Wacom tablet because if you're using the brush, you should probably feel like you're holding a brush too. There's a ton of options within the brush menu, but I don't want to be using the circle for it. Let's use a custom brush. How do we make a custom brush? Well, you can use anything. You just need to make your own stamp. Basically, black marks and white doesn't mark. And once I put a design in there and select the area, I can go to Edit, Define Brush Preset. Look at that brush! It's crazy. I can draw with that now. Change the spacing. It's almost a snowflake, but it's ugly. But let's make a real brush, okay? Because I don't want to use that in anything I'm working on. That's hideous. Let's instead use a photo. I got this cool texture on textures.com. Used to be cgtextures.com. I'm sure you could use that as well. I'm going to change some of the aspects of this. One would be just to desaturate it, and two would be to change the levels so it's more defined. It's good to have a brush nice and defined here with clear blacks and whites, because otherwise you get some areas that kind of don't show up too well. So what I'm going to do is select a big circle of this, invert that selection, and fill it with white. And that'll give me a sense of what the brush I'm creating will look like. And I can etch out portions of this by just painting in white. So I get rid of that really crisp edge that I don't want. You can also mask off portions too. And just reveal that. I actually like that, so let's do that. Define brush preset. And remember, the black section is what you'll be painting with, so I'm going to make an inverted selection and make a different brush with the highlights. So I'll only be marking with the highlights with the second brush and the grooves with the first brush. So here's how these brushes look right now. Not much different and really not that special. Let's change some of the dynamics in the brush to make them more interesting. First, the shape dynamics. This to me is the most important aspect of your brush. That looks a lot more interesting. Let's change the shape dynamics, size jitter a little bit. Pen pressure will dictate the size. You can see it spreads out a little bit when it gets smaller. I think I want to change the spacing to be a little bit closer. That's fine. And you can make already dragon scales that look pretty cool with this. I want to change the angle jitter. Not that much, but enough. So it's more of a texture than it is dragon scales. I still want that a little bit closer. Yeah. You can see it covers up pretty quick, so I want to go down to transfer. That's where the opacity is changed. And it's automatically turned on for me. I'm getting a cool effect. I already like it. I don't want opacity jitter, I just want it set to pen pressure. I want the flow set to pen pressure. They're basically both the same thing. It just gives you more nuanced ability to change it. I don't want this brush to scatter, though you could throw it all over the place. Turn that off. You can turn texture on if you copy some textures. Here I have paper texture. It really helps to set this to hard mix to really get the textured effect. You can see that's kind of killing my brush. Probably have it too bright or too deep. Let's turn everything down a little bit. I don't really want the texture. It's killing that brush, man. Dual brush can allow you to hide a lot of the brush. It basically masks off what this brush doesn't touch. So if I select a round brush and change the size a little bit down, I can hide everything that that brush is not getting, and it'll react to both brushes' settings. I kind of like that. Play around with all these different things and make your own brushes at your heart's content. Let's draw a thing. You can see, even though that this is a very quick sketch, it has a photorealistic quality because of the photo texture brush. Once you like your brush, you can go into the brush here, find this little button in the top right corner, and click New Brush Preset and just name your new brush. If you like the set of brushes that you have, just right click, find this button, and then hit Save Brushes, and you can name that set of brushes. That's all for quick tuts on brushes. See you next time.